Hey everyone, DeadGFN here, and this is another one of these unscripted, spontaneous videos that I record whenever a new Gravity Falls merchandise is announced at some random time of the day that I just wasn't prepared for. And this is another one of those cases. This is like the third time this has happened this year, but this one's a bit less of a big new bit of content and more of a surprising return from the dead for a previously thought to be discontinued or never even made item. Now for this, I gotta thank my friend dipperpines-kin on Tumblr, who's a really good friend of mine and also a Gravity Falls merchandise expert. And they were the first ones to report about this, let me know as well about it. And all the information that we've got so far has come from them directly. So huge thanks to them for finding this information and making it public for all of us fans to find out. And it's basically this. And yeah, at first glance, your first thoughts will be, oh, it's just the Gravity Falls Season 1 poster slapped on top of a bunch of books, so what's the big deal about this? Well, this is the Gravity Falls Cinestory box set, and it's being re-released at last, or should I say finally released for real this time, now as a Gravity Falls Graphic Adventures 7-book collection coming on October 1st, 2025. And for all of you who aren't in the know, let me just explain why this is an exciting and pretty huge deal. Now, to explain why this is a big deal, we gotta go back to 2015 to when Gravity Falls was still airing, when Disney launched a new series of books for the show called Gravity Falls Cinestory Comics. And basically these were a thing that Disney was making back in the day in collaboration with a company called Joe Books, and essentially what these were Gravity Falls episodes that were being put into comic book format and retold that way. So they would just take screenshots from the show and then slap a text box on it, add the dialogue from the episode, and call it a day. It was a pretty low effort book series, but the fact that we even had it was pretty cool considering at the time Gravity Falls didn't have that many books. So yeah, it was pretty interesting, but that was about it. Gravity Falls ended up having 4 official Cinestory books for the first 16 episodes of the show, with 4 episodes in each of them. As well as that, there was a short series which contained 12 of the 17 shorts in a series of 4 books, as well as a combined bigger version of the books, so the called Just West of Weird. There was also a Weird Mageddon Sin story that was being made, and also crucially, the Cinestory boxed set. So this thing, from what I remember, was announced back in 2018 or 2017 actually, if I remember correctly, and it was originally supposed to come out in 2018. And it was going to contain the first 4 books in the series. But then the box set got delayed until 2019 for reasons that weren't really clear, but I think it was probably because they wanted to add the newer books that had come out for the Cinestory series into the box set for that reason. I guess they wanted to add the 4th copy and then later the 5th copy, which was also being developed at the time, so I guess it was delayed to make it, work for that. Because, if you're paying for a box set, you want all the books in the box set, if not, not missing one, so there's that. This is also that period of time in late 2018, early 2019 where, there was a couple of people who were excited for this, but this is that time where the Gravity Falls fandom actually kind of felt like it was dying, considering the, Alex had moved on to work on Netflix. There were some other shows airing at the time, so because of that, there weren't really that many people interested in Gravity Falls as there are nowadays. I mean, this is probably the closest the Gravity Falls fandom ever came to dying. Like, all those people who say the post-Book of Bill hype is over and that the Gravity Falls fandom feels like it's actually dying now, they have no idea what it was like back then. Like, I know what it was like, and it was genuinely, like, the closest we came to dying, so shut up if you think Gravity Falls fandom is dying right now. Just kidding. But yeah, in all seriousness, this was an interesting book that some people were interested in, but the delay kept going on and on and on, and then eventually the book just vanished off the face of the earth. And if you go on the Amazon listing for the book nowadays, on Amazon USA, it doesn't say anything. It just says it's out of print, limited availability. But then in Amazon Canada, it says that the book is coming out on January 1st, 2050, which I guess is like some default number for Amazon like listings for when there's no actual set release date or whatever. But the fact that it says 2050 is kind of funny. Like, I mean, I remember some friends of mine, we were all talking about how like we're gonna wait until 2050 to buy this book, and we're gonna be in our I don't know, like our 50s or whatever, and talking about this, and yeah, that's not happening. Ultimately, the reason that this Cinestory never ended up being made was because the company that was making them for Disney, Joe Books, ended up going bankrupt in 2019, so because of that, all their projects ended up being scrapped, including these Cinestories. Yeah, that was pretty upsetting. This book ended up never being made, so this box set doesn't exist. Or actually, it did exist, because according to my friend Trick and GF, apparently a couple of copies ended up making it through the cracks and being actually sold. And he ended up actually buying one of them. Like, here's some actual photos that he sent me of probably one of the only existing Gravity Falls Cinestory box sets that are out there, or at least there were, because his copy ended up being destroyed after it got peed on by a cat. Yeah. What's interesting is that even though the Cinestory officially stopped being made by Joe Books after it went bust, it turns out that the Latin American publishers of the Cinestory books continued to make them, as well as ending up publishing a 6th and 7th volume of the series that continue in the Latin American market. The difference is that they're in Spanish only, and they don't have any English version to go off of, so they have to, from what Tricken told me, they have to make the content themselves this time around, so they have to get the dialogue and whatnot themselves. But, it's still pretty cool that, publishers were continuing to make these books even after the original series ended. So that's essentially what this Cinestory concept was all about. So that was pretty cool. And as it turns out, this Cinestory re-release that's happening is actually including those books. So if you look in this, you can see that there's volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the 6, 7, 5, 6, and 7 volumes use the Latin American publisher's version of the cover, while the first 4 versions used the covers that were created by Joe Books when they were in business still. So that's pretty interesting. And also another thing, if you probably have already figured it out, is that these new re-releases of the Cinestories aren't actually called Cinestories. I assume that's probably some copyright reason, or they don't have the rights to use that name, but these books are just called Gravity Falls Graphic Adventures Collection. And speaking personally, I prefer that name a lot, because, like, what even was a Cinestory? Like, who came up with that name? Like, that made no sense at all. Like, okay, it's assumingly a merge between the word cinema and story to create Cinestory, but, like, why? Like, this is a TV show. Like, it's a comic book. Like, it's not a storybook or a movie. It's a cartoon show comic book. Like, why? Like, I never understood the name, and I hated it. And yeah, I'm so glad that's not being used anymore, because, straight up just calling it Graphic Adventures Book 7 Volume whatever, that's a better name and makes more sense. Like, that will get you watching and interested in this. Like, Cinestory, you look at Cinestory and you're just like, what? What's a Cinestory? You look at this and you're like, oh, Gravity Falls comics, that's cool. I'm almost certain that people are going to assume that these are some new Gravity Falls comic books, even though in reality they're just the entirety of season 1 in book form. And that's another thing that's also worth mentioning, is that because the Latin American publisher completed the series essentially for season 1, that means that these books contain all of the season 1 episodes in them in these 7 books. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, the only other thing that I'm noticing with this Cinestory release that I don't know if I'm entirely a fan of is that it seems like the box is a bit different. Like, I mean, it is different. Like, let's be truthful here. Like, it is obviously different. The original Cinestory book box set release had this box cover on it. Like, it used a pretty default render of Dipper and Mabel, but it used a pretty cool background in the back, which was something new at the time. And it's basically the opening to the Gravity Falls theme song, but it's more of a sunset type vibe, and I really like it. And, that would have been really cool to use. Like, the season 1 poster that is used in the new version is just so overused. I mean, not to hate on it, because it's iconic. It's obviously the face of Gravity Falls, but, like, how hard was it to just make some new art for this? I mean, there's more posters for Gravity Falls out there. Like, use one of those. Like, why did you have to reuse the season 1 poster again? Like, it's so overused. Like, even the Gravity Falls vinyl soundtrack digital version of the release even uses this, and like a squared version of the poster as the album cover. And it's just like, was it that hard to not just commission an artist to make a cool new cover for it? Like even if you wanted to take the cheap route and use like renders or like random existing renders of the characters, just use one of those and do something similar to what the Cinestory books did. Like, why did you have to just reuse the season 1 poster? It's so boring. Like, grown man complains about the cover of a kids cartoon book. But yeah, truth is, I'm actually pretty excited for this. Like, I remember when this thing was canceled, and I didn't have any hope that this thing would ever be made. Like, the Cinestory book wasn't to begin with something I was all that interested in buying, but the fact that there was a canceled box set for Gravity Falls that would contain like a bunch of these books was pretty cool and something that I was pretty intrigued by. Yeah, unfortunately, that never ended up happening, but now I finally have a chance to get it. Or maybe. As it turns out, the Cinestory release is right now specifically being done for the New Zealand and Australian markets. So right now it's only available on Amazon Australia and some Australian and New Zealand publishers, if I remember correctly. So it's not available on Amazon US or Amazon Canada, so that's a bit of a bummer, so I can't pre-order it right now. But fingers crossed, hopefully the book will end up being released into the international market because, this is definitely something I think a lot of people would be interested in buying, like, hardcore Gravity Falls fans or just people who like reading comic books. I guess this is what all international Gravity Falls fans felt when the GF box set in 2018 was limited to just the US and Canada because of region lock. Yeah, doesn't feel good. Now, the important question I'm sure all of you are asking is, will I make a review video of this? I don't know, probably, maybe not. I mean, I first have to get my hands on this book. It's only $46, which I assume is Australian dollars, which converted to Canadian is not too expensive. I think it's lower because of the conversion rate or whatever. But yeah, like, I'm definitely going to try and buy this when I have the chance to. But as of right now, it even says, like, we're working hard to make this in stock and is right now not available in Canada, and also I don't have an Amazon Australia account to begin with, so I can't even pre-order it that way. But hopefully eventually I'll figure out how to get this book, because yeah, considering the many years I've had to wait for this day to come and assuming that it was never going to happen, and the fact that I was prepared to wait until 2050 if by some miracle someone at Joe Books decides to release it now, I'm going to try and buy this just so I can say I own the Gravity Falls Cinestory box set, which is a flex that no one on the planet will care about and no one will ever be like, oh, that's cool, like, wow, you're so special, oh, you own a Gravity Falls Cinestory book, wow, you're so cool. No, obviously no one's gonna give a damn about this, but just to say that I own this thing after all these years, that's definitely gonna be worth it. So that's the whole reason I'm probably gonna go after this. So yeah, other than that, that's really all I gotta say about this. I'll leave links to the pre-orders and whatnot in the description below if you want to buy it, or if you live in Australia or New Zealand and you can buy it. Yeah, if you do end up getting it before us Canadian Gravity Falls fans do, then be sure to let us know what it's like and maybe tell us if it's worth buying or not. I definitely want to get it because just, it's pretty cool for that reason and just to say that I have it. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, a huge thank you again to my friend dipperpines-kin for even bringing this to my attention, because I didn't even realize that this was happening, and this is so cool that it's actually coming back. Like, it's a Cinestory book, it's just retelling the episodes, it's not that big of a deal, but because of my history with this book and the fact that I've been keeping an eye on this thing since it was discontinued or scrapped in 2019, like, just to be able to say I own it, that's going to be worth it for me in the end. So fingers crossed I can get this book eventually, but we'll see. But yeah, that's about it for this video. If you made it to the end of this unscripted ramble of a mess, thank you for watching. And yeah, more better content, or better than this at least, content coming on the way soon. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and bye. Also, can we just talk about the fact that for the silhouettes that they used for the Cinestory books, they picked Dipper, Mabel, Stan, Seuss, Wendy, Gideon, and Robbie. Like, why Robbie? Okay, Gideon probably makes sense because, he was sort of a main character back in season 1, but why Robbie? Like, I mean, yeah, it's season 1, so I guess Robbie was a bit more of an important character in season 1 than, like, McGucket or Pacifica were in season 2, but, like, why Robbie, man? Why did it have to be him?